If you're planning a trip to Sweden, there are a few things I think you should know. Because there are some things that can make you spend a little bit more than you want to, or make you miss the best parts of Sweden without even realizing it. I'm doing this project in Europe, and so I visited about 80% of Europe. And I can safely say that Sweden is one of my favorite countries. Don't tell the other countries I told you that. So let's get into the big things you should know before visiting Sweden. The best time of year to visit Sweden, I think, depends on your priorities and the kinds of things that you like to do, because there is something to do in every season. And of course, each one will have its pros and cons. If you ask anybody who hates winter, they'll say, yeah, only go from June to September because those are the warm months. And midsummer is when things start to come alive. But as a Canadian and someone who has recently found their love for winter again, I think winter is also an amazing time. So it really just depends on what you want out of your trip and what kinds of things you like to do. If you love to camp, hike, and explore nature and really get the most out of freedom to roam, allemansrätten, then you can go in the summertime. But be warned, in summer is mosquito season, especially in the north. When I was hiking to Kebnekaise, the highest peak in Sweden, we had swarms of mosquitoes following us. And we were told that that year it wasn't even that bad. Anytime I've been there in the summer, I've always had great weather. T-shirt, shorts, be a little bit rainy, so it just really depends.
Midsummer, they say.
Yeah.
Come to Sweden, they say. It'll be sunny.
Why are my feet so... Why are they so dirty?
So if you are going during spring, summer, or fall, I would definitely pack a windbreaker and a rain jacket if possible, just in case. So if you love to ski or snowboard, you can go in the winter time. They've got amazing places to go. I went to one of the most popular ski towns in Sweden, Ure. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong.
It's completely set up for ski in, ski out. They've thought of everything. There's places to put your skis, your snowboard, everything. You can go into the bars, the restaurants. Like, I'm really impressed with this place. And I swear, it's this little hidden gem.
So in the wintertime, it really depends on where you're going, what activities you're doing, but be prepared for cold. And I mean, if you're coming from a place like Canada, you know what to expect. So just, dress like you would at home. I was having this conversation with a friend of mine who's only seen snow like twice or 3 times. And I was explaining that layers are the thing that you need. So if you're going when it's cold, if you're going to Swedish Lapland in the wintertime, yeah, pack layers. It's the way it's gonna be. If we look at Gothenburg versus Stockholm, it's so much windier in Gothenburg. I remember the 2 times that I was there, I was just shocked. Like, I had my hard shell jacket, my hood all the way up, and it was like trying to walk across the street with the wind pushing you back. It was quite funny. I think a wise Swede once told me it's not about the weather, it's about the clothes you wear in the weather, or some kind of saying like that. Probably one of the most asked questions is Sweden actually expensive? It's a funny question because it really depends on a lot of factors. It depends on what currency you're bringing, because in Sweden they have the Swedish krona. It'll depend on what you're used to, what country you're coming from, wherever you live. I've been to all of the Nordic countries. From what I've experienced, Iceland is the most expensive. Then I would say Norway. Then I would say Sweden. Denmark is, I would say, pretty close to Sweden. And then Finland, I found, was the most affordable. Finland also has the euro. So I was going into the country with the euro. And at the times, many of the times that I was visiting Sweden, the Swedish krona was quite strong. So that plays a big role in it, right? If we break it down, these are the averages that I've seen. So if you go out for dinner to a restaurant and you get a plate and a pint of beer, you'll probably spend about 20 to 30 euros. And if you go for lunch, normally I would spend 10 to 15 euros.
Ooh, it smells like garlic bread.
And oh, of course, breakfast a little bit cheaper. Normally I would have like a cinnamon bun and a coffee, and that was like maybe 6-7 euros. I'm at one of the most famous coffee places in Gothenburg, and it's actually won some awards for being Sweden's best coffee. Again, it does depend on what part of Sweden you're in. If you're in Stockholm, these things will be a little bit more expensive. I've found that in these smaller villages, it's cheaper. With the exception of like super remote places, then it's often a little bit more expensive. It's a similar concept to like what Canada has. Like if you go to a more remote place, it takes longer to get the food to that place. But normally what I do when I go to Sweden is I go grocery shopping. So I will not have all of my meals out. I will go and buy groceries, cook myself some food, make some delicious sandwiches, this kind of stuff. And that usually saves me a lot.
What do you think?
I dropped my tuna.
And the cool thing is this works because there's two types of accommodation I normally go for. An Airbnb or a hotel or a hostel, whatever it is, or camping. So of course, if you're camping, your accommodation is free. And if you're staying in a hotel, I normally go for places that are between 40 and 60 euros. This is more dependent on my budget, but the really great thing is you can get really good bang for your buck. Last time I was in Ure, I had an Airbnb studio to myself, and it had a kitchen, bedroom, heated floors in the bathroom. Like it was perfect for me. I don't need much to be happy, so it was clean, safe, warm.
Dinner is served.
If we're looking at accommodation during midsummer, that's pricey. But the problem was that we tried to book the accommodation 2 to 3 weeks in advance, and that's just not enough for that time of year. So to get your dollar to go farther, I would book with more time in advance. Anytime I've had a really expensive place to stay was always because I booked it the night before. One of the many beautiful things about this country is allemansrätten. I think the translation is something like the right to public access or something like that, but in English we would say like freedom to roam. The concept is being able to go out into nature, experience it, camp, hike, cycle, kayak. Nature's the limit.
So they say that you can pick any wild mushrooms or wild berries in Sweden under the freedom to roam idea. But the thing is, you have to know which ones are okay to eat, especially when it comes to mushrooms. But I'm not gonna pick these, but I'm just gonna appreciate the fact that nature's beautiful.
With the intent of not disturbing and not destroying. And that is something that is so wonderful about Sweden. I have found it to be some of the most clean, natural spaces I've seen around the world. And coming to transportation, in the bigger cities like Stockholm, Gothenburg, you've got metro and the trams. It's really well connected. It's easy to get around. Beyond that, you've got train network, ferry network that works really well, and buses. I have yet to have a bad experience with public transit. The night train that we took from Stockholm to Kiruna and back, phenomenal.
We are riding overnight on a train from Kiruna in the Arctic of Sweden all the way to Stockholm. I'm super stoked because I love trains.
I would say just book in advance and know that you might have to share a compartment with somebody else. So there were 2 of us and we ended up sharing with a couple of other Swedes. Of course, they were lovely, we had a great chat, but if you want a bit more privacy, you would want to keep that in mind, right? And make sure that you go to your assigned seat. We didn't understand how the seating worked coming from Kiruna to Stockholm. We just couldn't understand it. Maybe it was because we were so tired after like 50 kilometers of hiking. But we got in and we got in a little bit of trouble because we booked like, I think it was a female carriage and we were in like the wrong place. And of course I was with my partner, so it was kind of like, what do we do? We're sorry. I think I just booked the wrong one, right? So just keep that in mind. I find most of the tourist destinations are really well connected by train. I have actually never taken any domestic flights within the country because I find them a lot more expensive than the other options of trains, buses, ferries. If you want a direct yes or no answer, can you travel Sweden on a budget? 100%. Your biggest expense will probably be getting there, depending on where you're coming from, of course. And if you're camping, your biggest expense will probably be transport and food, which in my opinion is not so bad.
And I was told that the berries in Sweden, the strawberries, are supposed to be some of the best in the world. And I was skeptical at first because I thought, I'm hearing this from all Swedish people, so there's no way this can be true. But guess what? It's true.
One of the best things about travel is food, right? You gotta have a cinnamon bun. It's like peak Swedish. Even better, and bonus points, if you have a fika. So what that typically is sharing a warm moment with loved ones, friends, whomever. Just sharing that moment, pausing, being disconnected from social media. And it's a huge part of their culture. You definitely gotta have lingonberries, lingonberry jam, lingonberry on some pancakes. Super delicious. You have to visit a candy store or go to like the candy aisle of a grocery store because they're big on sweets. I did this last time I was there and I tasted a bunch and I learned that they absolutely love licorice.
Big bitters kolaskruf.
They don't have tipping culture. Normally the service fee, or what's it called, the gratuity fee, is included. This is a huge game changer, especially coming from Canada, because the tipping culture in Canada has gotten insane, 20-25%. Luckily, there's no tipping culture. They pay their people properly. If I rewind back to the first couple times that I was there, I was just always surprised at how quiet the cities were, and the nature even more quiet. My brain was at ease. If you don't want to offend or cause a ruckus, don't be extremely loud. Part of Swedish culture to be a bit more mindful and quiet. Now, there is a stereotype that I have heard a lot, and it's that people are cold. And I really have to disagree with it. I think it's more, I've noticed that people don't like small talk as much. It's more, they want to get to the meaningful parts of the conversations. Very curious. And that is just something that I also love. I do not think Swedish people are cold. I do think that if you go into a country assuming that people are a certain way, the vibe that you give off from your assumptions and from your judgments will probably elicit that kind of behavior in return. If you go in with an open mind, you're super excited to talk to people, they will probably also be excited to talk to you. So now, one of my favorite parts and one of the reasons I just keep going back to Sweden is because of its nature. The cities are great. Now, if we look at the major cities, Gothenburg, Stockholm, that's where people typically go, right? Which one is better? It really depends. They have their pros and cons. I'm not gonna go through it. If you want to see the vlogs, I'll link them down below. If we look at the whole country, you've got everything. You've got beaches, tons of lakes, forests, mountains. You've got everything. The south is excellent for beaches, for cycling, and then the middle part depends on what part of the middle part, but that's where you start to get a little bit more mountainous, and in the north is where there's a lot of mountains. If you like a good swim in sauna, you'll love Sweden.
Well, I did not expect that it was going to be so much fun. Wait, sorry, I just said sorry to a stick.
Time for a rapid fire. Is Sweden safe for solo travel? 100%. I've never had an issue. How safe is it for women and LGBTQ plus travelers? Again, super safe. And I see that people are treated as equals. Keeping in mind that this is coming from someone who has lived in some pretty risky neighborhoods. I won't tell you what I've experienced, but basically there have been times when I've called the police because something has been so bad and the police have not come. Anyways, everything's relative. Do you need cash? No, everything is digital. How clean, well organized is everything? Top notch. What's the deal with midnight sun? Yes, during the summer, the sun does not set. It's awesome, so you definitely want to bring an eye mask. Does it actually get dark in the winter? Yes, they've got polar nights, especially in the north. So like the closer you go to the Arctic Circle, the farther north you go, you're gonna have these extremes. So when I was there in the winter, I think it got dark at like 3 p.m. But again, coming from Canada, it was a similar situation, so nothing new. But if you come from a country where this is not a thing, you will probably be a little bit shocked. And maybe you should avoid that time of year. But you can see the aurora borealis, so pros and cons. Are public saunas common in Sweden? Yes, I have been to them, but they're not as common or as popular compared to Finland. They're everywhere. Cardamom or cinnamon buns? You gotta try the cardamom bun. Cardamom bun. So good. I think it's better than the cinnamon bun. If you are new here and you enjoyed this video and you learned something new, do consider hitting subscribe. It really helps a lot. Our goal is to get to 100K so that we can go climb the highest peak in Greenland, because this is my project to climb the highest peak in every European country. But beyond that, this channel is also all about Europe, living your adventure, and getting outside and doing side quests. So if you love that, you're in the right spot. And if you've been here throughout the last several months, the last several years, and you love what we do here, please do check out the new clothes that we designed. I'm super excited about them. So they're just below this video. And all proceeds do go directly back into funding more content and the Peak Project. Because, spoiler alert, climbing mountains like Mont Blanc and Dufourspitze are pretty expensive. If there are any other countries that you would like to learn more about that I could shed some light on, let me know in the comments down below. And make sure you go live your adventure, because the world is amazing. Take care, friends.